The moral of the story is don't fall in love. What do I mean by that? There is the winners rotate, and the things that you surfed, the waves that you surfed up until this particular point, maybe even this week, you might have to change surfing locations. Right? Where are the swells? Like I live in California. I'm not a big water person, but I'm aware. I know some pretty well known, professional surfers, and sometimes they're traveling to find where are the best waves, because they're seasonal, right? And you can't really surf in low tide, and we're kind of seeing that in the marketplace. So if you were, what's where I've been short in Nvidia via puts, the QQQs, and Nasdaq and this and that via puts, and you're not being a cheater. You're not being untrue to yourself. Winners rotate, and the things that got you here might be different than the things that are going to take you through the end of the year and into 2025. So you can't become emotionally, like I said in my book. And by the way, the audiobook version, you can get it for free. The link is in the description. The Inner Voice of Trading. These aren't women I'm not falling in love. And I'm not a promiscuous person. I'm not a cheater. That's not how I'm built. But you have to be able to turn your back on what was the darling of the day. The problem is, especially with like Nvidia and Bitcoin, I don't mean to pick on these two, but if you look at what are the beacons out there, that's my way of saying beacons. There's two of them. Ding, ding, ding. You've got the AI beacon, and then you got the crypto beacon. And when people get locked into that type of ideology, it becomes like religion or politics, is that they don't have any sense of rationality anymore. They're not good listeners. And you have to listen to what the market's communicating. And so there's been some substantial pullbacks, right? So don't take it in the teeth by trying to bull your way into what you think your ideology is. Only the price is the thing that's going to tell you the truth, right? So you might have to, find the names that are working. Where can you do that? I don't know. Go to your screener and look for the things that are making new 52-week highs. They probably have strong relative strength. And in the world of stock trading, that's very, very important. I'm not big on indicators. I like to measure vol. I like to know what the average daily trading volume is, just because when you're moving inventory, you want to make sure that you don't own like 10% of the float, or that, there's 100,000 shares trading and you have 10,000 of the shares. Like if there's a down day, it's going to be hard for you to get out of your position, right? So there's that. But you want to understand relative strength. And in this type of an environment, that might mean you're looking at certain names that you wouldn't even think to look at. So that can be very, very helpful in looking at that as you're trying to do your portfolio selection. This is especially true if you're only playing one side of the market and you're trying to nibble long on the S&P or on, say, the Nasdaq and the NQs or the MNQs or even the Russell 2K. Be careful trying to play the bounce, unless you have a strategy for that. Trying to guess where the moves are over is very, very tricky, even for the pros. I will say in my own experience with 36 years, the single hardest trade for me is a V bottom or a V top, right? There's no structure, right? So how do you can't predict that. And so you want to be super careful that you are, you have a plan coming into any one particular day, know what your R is like and all that stuff we spoke about yesterday, and just understand that it's a natural order of things for winners to rotate. And your job as a risk manager is not to be married into any one particular thing where like, I'm not just trading the E-mini or the micros. Like that's a system for putting you into frustration, especially if you're long only and you're a day trader, because the volatility when it increases can really, really chop you up. And I know it did for me. And it did for me at a time when, it was very expensive to trade. So, for example, you have to understand, and I don't mean to bore you with a story that you might have heard before. If I was trading a sleepy little corn contract and it had a 1 penny move against me, that was $50. Well, $50 is 1% of a $5,000 account. Never mind the commission, which was equal to, it was costing me 1% to kind of get in and out of the trade. It was actually more. If you look at the stocks trading in eighths at the time, before decimalization, like I've said before, you had an eighth in, it was an eighth of commission to get out, and the spread was at least an eighth, if not a quarter. So I was looking at between 37 and a half to 50 cents as a break even on stock trading. So you need to be mindful of all these things as you're looking to put your strategy together, because for me, making trading errors or taking flyers or looking to jump into something on a hunch could be very, very expensive because of the nature of the fact that I was looking at 1% as transaction fees, round turn, total cost. In futures, it was actually more. But for stocks, it was minimum 1%. So I had to isolate the things that I thought could really, really move. And so I started to think about, like, okay, where are the strong trends? One, two, where are the things that have been basing for a long period of time? Because once the thing or the market turns, maybe there was a time where I believed the bigger the base, the bigger the move. I don't necessarily believe that anymore, but you can try that out for yourself. You can back test it. So I used to sit and wait and look for those particular names to evolve, right? So that I could anticipate putting on a trade that I could be in for a while, right? Because even if I made $150, if I had to pay a third of that in commissions, like, it kind of is a bit of a buzzkill. So I needed to, again, we're all products of our environment, right? That's why I'm never critical of what you're trying to do, because it's a different environment than the one I was reared in, right? But so it wouldn't make sense to me to try to put on a trade and care about making $200 if I had $50 to $100 of execution costs, never mind slippage, right? So I couldn't grow my account. In other words, plus there's the tax consequence, right? And in New York City, there were three levels of taxation. City tax, there's a state tax, and there's federal tax. So then there was all of that. So be careful, be super mindful, be highly selective about what it is that you're doing. And in this type of an environment, it's very easy to fall into going on tilt and seeking revenge. So you might do very, very well, by being much more selective in your securities and being more promiscuous in looking across many, many names to trade, not just the darlings that got you here or the ones that you were emotionally invested in, right? And if that's something that's hard for you, you might need to take a time out and stay out of the market. If you like this video, check out this one.